Welcome back, team. In this video, we try to understand how simulation models will be helpful for the people who are associated with making policies for the IT utilization by the organization. So before starting the activity, it is better we understand what is a model. So let me show you a simple example of what is a model. Check this. This is a simple model that analyzes how a car sensor will get influenced or like will be it can be used for the car to be tested. To make it simple, let us assume that so it can be used for different purposes. In this purpose, try to understand whatever I am explaining. So a same simulation model can be used for different purposes. So let us consider a parking slot, so where one car is parked in right side of the door, like one side of the parking slot, and if this car is parking and moving to back towards this car, then how it works, how it gets tested, that should be understood. So the car that is a target vehicle when tries to move backwards, so it should maintain certain distance with the ego vehicle, or like based on that the simulation model will be tested. What happens if the speed values uh, differences gets different, and how it will be affected, how each car will be affected when this simulation model is tested. Those results will be taken, and based on that we decide at what speed the car should be parked and what should be the distance that should be maintained by the each car. Okay, so we test both the cars with different speeds and different distances, and fish eye camera that is used for the purpose of assessing where the car is exactly located. In that way we can analyze this model. Okay, so similarly, see, we need to understand this is the model. It contains a different types of elements, various processes and various rules we apply, and based on application of different rule, what kind of response we get. Based on that we decide one particular strategy for these two cars, or like one particular strategy for the parking slot that should be followed by the people who come there for parking their cars. Okay, that is how it works. Similarly, like what is the purpose of a simulation model? This a simulation model can be a simple one, and it is very simply defined, and it can be a less complex thing that can be applied for different problems or different situations to make some better analysis of the situation and provide you better results. To make it simple, it can be a simple software program that that is usually used for the purpose of approximating real world behavior. So usually the things that we cannot test for the real world things, that we can use by using these computer simulation models, we can test it. For example, if you want to understand, say when we having some 100 kg weight rod pressing against a person, like if it is fell on you one person's leg, what happens? You can't really test it, right? Because it really hurts that person. So what we do is like we try to take some kind of computer software simulation models, and we try to simulate it and we try to test it, based on which we can understand the results. That is how it happens. So to, to make it simple, when we are trying to simulate something, the things that we cannot do it in a real world, or it can be things that can be done in real world also, but to make it simple, the things that we cannot test in real time or in real world, we mostly use this simulation model to test it. It is used because using of these simulation models is very easy, and it provides mostly some effective results which are very easy to analyze and understand how that simulation model is working. So there are different types of simulation models that we use in real world. There are system dynamics, agent-based models, and micro simulation. These days, agent-based modeling and micro simulation have become very popular. Okay, so this is what we call a system simulation. This is what about a simulation model. In the next slide, we discuss about how these policies are, or like simulation models are applied. Okay, so this is the process that we follow. First, analysis of source data, whatever the data that is available, and we create a conceptualization, a concept to test the model, and after creating the concept, we program as per the concept. Then we try to verify and validate the program, and after getting proper results from the conceptual simulation, we apply it on simulation model. Let us see some realistic approach that we used to test simulation models. For example, let us understand what is the agent based model. Okay, so how agent model based model can be used for the purpose of simulation. Let us understand this agent based model. Agents are nothing but some of the elements that exist in real world. Okay, so we do provide some certain rules to those elements, and we try to understand how they behave. Okay, so based on their behavior, we try to understand about the implementation of the policy and how effectively that policy is working for the organization. So to understand that example, let us take this simple case where this greenery, whatever the green color is there, that is what we call a forest, and we try to fire a forest by applying a agent based model, and we try to simulate it, and we understand what kind of results we achieved. Okay, in this, the fire and tree are agents. These agents are given certain rules. A fire will continuously flow in straight ways, and but we give certain rules to the trees. The rule for fire is it will fire anything that come in front of it. Okay. So next one is we give certain rules to the trees, that if the tree uh, uh, observes a fire, maybe right, left side, right side, or west side, if any of these three sides, if fire is observed, it will get fired. And if it get on other only one side, if it is having fire, it won't get fired. Okay, this is the rule that we need to apply here. Chalo, let us test how it works here. Okay, so when we apply that rule, so this is how it started. Whatever the tree, it identifies fire towards its east, west, south, they got fired, and by this it got stopped. Okay, if we see that because of application of this rule, only 11.4% of the forest is got fired. Okay, this is a situation where by applying certain rule we can understand how it is going to impact on the real-time forest and realistic forest, how it is going to influence. In the same way, if we create certain policies for the organization, when we test it, the kind of impact that policy can have on organization can be understood. For example, if we create that a host who comes to the organization can access data systems that are connected to the organization, then the kind of impact it will have. See, mostly like when this information is not secured, we come across different types of situations that can be given as outcomes, and we can test the policy. Based on that, we can understand how it is going to impact on the organization. Similarly, if you have, like as of now we are undergoing some kind of situation, emergency situation in society because of the coronavirus. Okay, so when some kind of rules are applied, maybe like the person is sneezing, the person is having fever, this kind of rules are applied. Based on that, we can test whether the person is having coronavirus or not in that way. Okay, this is a somehow, if you observe that this might happen in real time. Okay, so because of the fire, air is coming from the west side, so other than west side, the fire can be connected to the all three sides. Okay, this is how we decide. Fire cannot go towards west side, so we deny west side. We don't include west side. For all other three sides, we decide that fire will definitely going to attack. So this is what happens when, and we also created the density of the fires. If you see that density of trees in the area is 57. Now we try to observe how it happens when the density is increased. So when the density is increased, so let us see here. When the density is increased to 64%, the way fire is expanding can be understood. This is how two different agents, one agent is fire, the other agent is tree, can be relatively understood how they behave in real time when some particular rules and regulations are applied to them. Okay, let us cross check with some other example we call wolf and sheep attack. Wolves run in straight line, and these sheeps will run in zigzag. When wolves come and meet with white color sheeps, they kill sheep and they get energy, they create, they reproduce another wolf. For example, if wolves cannot attack sheep, wolves will die and there will be no reproduction for the wolves. When we apply this rule, and if sheep are not attacked by the wolves, definitely sheep will be grown. Based on that observation, we can understand how the population of wolves and sheep can be changed. If you see the example, wolves are running towards sheep, sheep are running in zigzag, wolves are running in straight line, then what happens? You see that wolves are increasing in size and sheep's almost dead, and now you see wolves almost dead and sheep are increasing. It means that after a certain amount of period, definitely wolves will going to the wolves will not exist and the population of sheep will increase. This is how we test agent based rules and we make certain decisions about the situation. Hope you guys understood what is agent based modeling. In the same way, there are different types of models that we use. We use different types of scenarios. We use different types of models to test it. In each type of simulation model, we use different types of policies. Here we got different types of policies like system dynamics, micro simulation, and agent based modeling. In micro sim modeling, it is applied by using the problematic situations and statistics, and system dynamics. It is depending on pandemic policy making. Okay, so this is a simple explanation on micro simulation model, and we also have different types of models. We need to discuss simply about what is that model and how they are going to influence the policy making. Okay, next let us discuss about what kind of comparative analysis means tools and technologies that are required for creating a policy. So for making a policy, for testing a successful for implementing a successful policy for the organization, it is very crucial for the policy makers to create a policy. Then it should be assessed and it should be created by using appropriate tools and technologies. Okay, so let us see what kind of policy making we use, how a policy can be made. Policy visions, a policy making can should have a particular vision which discusses about different types of programs and actions that are included in the policy, and how those programs and policies and actions are created based on the type of actions that people who are associated with that policy will be influenced. The purpose is to change the real world, means like the IT policy is created to ensure that people who are having different mindsets, who are having different beliefs, believe in one policy and they should follow the policy without any obligations. So policy will have certain policy will use different types of ICT, and application of ICT definitely help policy making. It creates different opportunities, it improvises the policy quality, and it improvises adaptability of the policy. Okay, next, policy should have certain goals: better understand reality, increase stakeholder engagement. So these are some of the important goals that should be included while creating the policy. It is very important that the policy maker should understand the reality, and it should include important stakeholders of the policy or the organization to participate in creation of the policy. And ultimately, it is very important for the policymakers to create a higher quality deliverable. How policies can be identified. The first one is identification: initial search targeted, expand search general, select and read scholarly papers, and follow references by the scholarly papers. So this is a very generic research kind of thing where we need to search about each and every element of the policy exclusively, and we should understand why that element is important for the policy. We should read some excellent and good scholarly papers to understand important elements regarding the policy, and it is very important that policymakers follow whatever the recommendations that are made in the policy paper for the researchers. Okay, so this is very important. What kind of information should be identified and included in the policy can be identified, can be addressed by these areas. doing appropriate research, identifying appropriate papers, and following whatever the things that are mentioned in the paper. So next, categorization. See, there are different types of approximately 75 different types of groups that are mentioned in the article. So among them, those articles can be categorized into these different types of tools and technologies that can be applied for conducting excellent and high quality IT policy for the organization. Using data visualizations, application of argumentation tools where you create certain arguments and participants will provide different counter arguments for which addressing those counter arguments, by addressing those counter arguments we can create appropriate solutions. Electronic means of participation. See, different types of people will be socially commuting on electronic platforms to generate some important information related to the IT policy, and by using their opinions it is possible to create appropriate and most qualified IT policy for the organization. We can use simulation models, we can use gaming models, gaming technologies. We use particular games to understand what exactly IT policy is, why it is important for the organization, what are the important policies that could be included in the policy to ensure that privacy, security, and all purposes of the organization is mitigated. Tools specially designed for policymakers, persuasive technologies, and social networking analysis, big data analytics, and using appropriate rules, semantics, rules, and rules related to the linked data. So these things, these tools are broadly defined, though we have different types of, as it is mentioned in the summary document, there are approximately 75 different tools that we can use for the purpose. And these tools are categorized into 11 types. There are these 11 types of categories, each maybe approximately each, on average, each type of category can have 7 tools on an odd. So by using all these tools, we can create better policies for the organization. Okay, so and it is also important to include stakeholders and other important people to participate in development of the IT policy. Guys, that's it. And I guess by this you got some basic information related to how an IT policy can be created by using computer technologies and simulation models. Hope you guys do good. All the best for completing your discussion document. Thank you guys. See you. If you got any questions, please ask it in Bitrix. Thank you.